Today, I will tell you the untold story of a forgotten English noble, a man the royal family tried to erase from history. His name was Edward Crowell, the Duke of Lancaster. But in the shadows of the Old Kingdom, he was known by another name, the Puppet Duke. Why? Because the true power behind his life was never his own. Let us travel back to the early 1600s, where this tragic and forbidden story begins. Edward Crowell was born in 1587 inside the mist-covered Lancaster Manor, a place wrapped in superstition and fear. On the night he was born, an ancient prophecy carved into the manor's stone walls was whispered again. A child of the Crowell bloodline will come. He shall never wear the crown, but he will destroy the one who does. Because of this, Edward's birth brought not joy, but dread. Even his own family watched him with suspicion. He grew up a quiet, brilliant, and odd child. He would spend hours reading alone. Servants reported seeing him murmur to himself as if speaking to invisible figures. One maid said, "This boy will either save the crown or curse it." At age 15, Edward was summoned to London by King James I. The king had been watching the Crowell family for years. He assigned Edward a personal tutor, Sir Aldous Gresham, a cold, calculating strategist. Sir Aldous greeted Edward with a single lesson. In this palace, there are only two weapons, the sword and the tongue is sharper. Edward mastered diplomacy quickly. He had an uncanny ability. He could tell when someone was lying. He could read intentions like open books. This made him invaluable and dangerous. Soon, he became a secret advisor to the king, but not everyone welcomed this young genius. Whispers spread across the palace. The king's puppet. The boy who knows too much. Everything changed the night he met Princess Eleanor, the king's most beloved daughter. She was rebellious, passionate, and drawn to danger. Edward was quiet, thoughtful, and impossible to read. Their connection was instant. Secret meetings followed. In the gardens, the library, behind chapel doors. Eleanor would later say, "His silence said more than any man's words." But one night, Edward found a message carved into a palace wall. "This love will kill you." He ignored it. But he shouldn't have. In 1609, a powerful group of nobles plotted a coup. Their plan? Assassinate the king and replace him with Prince Philip. Edward discovered the conspiracy and brought the proof to the king. But instead of acting, the king hesitated. "If this is true," he said, "I must hang the very men who keep my throne stable." And so, blinded by fear, the king made a catastrophic mistake. He silenced Edward. Edward was arrested and thrown into the Tower of London for treason, betrayed by his own mentor, Sir Aldous, who revealed Edward's secret romance with Princess Eleanor. The king believed Edward was using Eleanor to seize influence, but Eleanor refused to abandon him. She stood before the king and confessed everything. Edward was innocent. The nobles were conspiring, and she loved him. This confession forced the king into a terrible choice: execute Edward or ignite a civil war. He chose a darker path, a secret compromise. Edward would not be killed, but he would be exiled from England forever, and Eleanor would never see him again. Edward was sent to France, but even there, shadows followed him. Anonymous letters, men tailing him in the streets, warnings that the crown still considered him a threat. Then one day, he received a final letter. Just one sentence: "Eleanor no longer exists for you." After that, Edward disappeared from society. No writings, no records, no grave. Some say he returned to England in disguise. Some say he reunited with Eleanor in secret. Others believe the crown eliminated him quietly. What we know is this: Edward Crowell, the puppet duke, was not a villain nor a hero. He was a man who tried to protect the throne and was destroyed by the very people he served. A man exiled for love, a man erased by power, a man history tried to forget, but whose ghost still lingers in England's darkest corridors